Triple gems for you all. The Dhamma sermon conducted based on the book The Explanation of the Factors of Enlightenment from the series of Dhamma books authored by Most Venerable Professor Rerukane Chandavimala Thero is titled by Mekala Niwena Bana. We respectfully welcome our Venerable Sandalankawe Kalyanadassana Thero to deliver Dhamma sermon. Today, this Dhamma sermon is sponsored for worldwide broadcast via Jaya TV by Mr. Saman Kumar along with his wife and daughter. Now, we respectfully invite Venerable Sandalankawe Kalyanadassana Thero to deliver Dhamma sermon. Let's pay the homage to Lord Buddha by reciting Namaskara 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Dutiyampi saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Tatiyampi saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi.
Saranāgamanaṃ sampunnaṃ
āmabante.
පානාතිපාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
පානාතිපාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි.
තිසරණේන සද්දෙන් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාදුකං සුරක්ෂිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං.
ආමබන්තේ සාදු සාදු සාදු.
සමන්තා චක්කවාලේසු අත්‍රා ගච්ඡන්තු දේවතා සද්දම්මං මුනි රාජස්ස සුනන්තු සග්ග මොක්ඛදං ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. ධම්මස්සවන කාලෝ අයං බදන්තා. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. චත්තාරෝ මේ භික්ඛවේ සම්මප්පදානා කතමේ චත්තාරෝ ඉද භික්ඛවේ භික්ඛු අනුප්පන්නානං පාපකානං අකුසලානං ධම්මානං අනුප්පාදාය uppannānaṁ pāpakānaṁ akusalaнаṁ dhammānaṁ pahānāya anuppannānaṁ kusalānaṁ dhammānaṁ uppādāya uppannānaṁ kusalānaṁ dhammānaṁ thitiyā sammosāya bhiyo bhāvāya vepullāya භාවනාය පාරිපුරියා චන්දං ජනේති වායමති විරියං ආරභති චිත්තම් පග්ගන්හාති පදහති ඉමේ කෝ භික්ඛවේ චත්තාරෝ සම්මප්පදානාති. With respect to the most venerable Mahasangha and dear devotees and the Dhamma friends. So today also we are in the discussion of the factors of the enlightenment. As you all know, we are using the Rerukane Chandavimala Mahanayaka Thero's, the well-written book, the explanation of the factors of enlightenment. Now using the information or the facts given in this well-written book, we are describing the 37 factors of enlightenment. You know, dear devotees, now these 37 factors of enlightenment, those are subdivided into 7 categories again. The 4 establishments of mindfulness, Chattaro Satipatthana, the 4 right efforts, Chattaro Sammappadana, 4 roads to power, Chattaro Iddhipada, 5 spiritual faculties, Panchendriya, 5 spiritual powers, Panchabala, the 7 factors of enlightenment, Satta Bojjhanga, and Noble Eightfold Path, which is termed as the Aryo Attangiko Maggo. Dear devotees, now in today's episode, we are going to discuss with you the 4 right efforts. In fact, now this is the second Dhamma sermon related to the 4 right efforts, Chattaro Sammappadana. Now here we are discussing about the energy or the courage or the effort you should put how to develop your supramundane life. So now this is very worthwhile. If you can develop these 4 right efforts or 4 right strivings, then you can achieve the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So before I go to the Rerukane Chandavimala Mahanayaka Thero's book, I would like to raise a question to all of us. You know, if I were to ask you, are you stable? So what gonna be your answer, dear devotees? Are you stable? Actually, I'm not talking about your physical stability or maybe your social stability or not your, wealth or the status. In fact, I am asking you, are you stable spiritually? Are you a person or a seeker who have stabilized your spiritual life? Now this is the question we are raising. Time to time we have to ask this question from ourselves. So why I am asking that particular question, not from you dear devotees, but also from myself, if we are not stable spiritually, we all have the potential to be born in the hell or woeful realms, or maybe in Niraya, or in Asura Nikaya, or as a Peta, or maybe in the Tirachana Yoni as an animal. So these are the 4 woeful realms or states. So dear devotees, now unless we eradicate this personality belief, we are to be born in the hell. So despite the status, you may be a man of status and wealth, but still there's a possibility in your next life you have to suffer. You will have to suffer in woeful realm. So despite the profession, maybe you are a doctor or an engineer, a teacher, a professor, or maybe a public servant, or maybe a worker in the private sector, whatever the profession or whatever the status that you hold in the society, but still you are to be born in the hell. So it is pointless, it is worthless if you have not achieved some higher levels of your supramundane life, or if you have not achieved some powers in the spiritual life, then even though you have obtained many more goals in your household life or your lay life, then in the end they're gonna be pointless. So dear devotees, it is over to you, it is over to all of us, that we should know how to develop our spiritual life as well while having a household life. So that is related to you lay people, and as the monks, we also time to time should ask ourselves, are we stable spiritually? Are we stable are we stable in our supramundane life? So dear devotees, in last Dhamma sermon we gave you an example, the analogy of a garbage dumping area. So in order to clean that particular area where the people dump their garbages, what we have to do? We have to do 4 things. One thing we have to do is we have to stop the collection of more and more garbage. And the second thing is, an already present garbage should be removed from that particular area. And the third thing is, we have to grow some flowers like plants so that the people may notice that particular area as not a garbage dumping area. So if there is garbage, then people, whenever the ordinary people notice it, they try to put their garbage also in the same area. So what we have to do, we have to plant some flowers or some other plantations in there, so that it will be seen as that is not a garbage dumping area. And also we have to water those plants, and we have to protect that area, so that eventually or ultimately that region will be a nice area to have a look. Dear devotees, the same analogy that we can use here in order to develop these 4 right efforts. So for what we are developing these 4 right efforts, there we should strive not to arise the unarisen defilements, and also we should stop the developed unwholesome states. And the other thing is, we should also try to arouse in us the wholesome states. And finally, the arisen wholesome states should be developed or maintained, so that it will ultimately come into the fruition. So if we go to the Rerukane Mahathero's explanation, so to the person who has not attained the state of fruition of stream enterer by cutting off of personality belief, there is a possibility to committing any unwholesome deeds. Dear devotees, now because of me or I, now this we, so-called the personality belief, now a person tends to carry out some unwholesome physical deeds and unwholesome verbal deeds. What are the unwholesome physical deeds? Killing living beings, stealing, and sexual misconduct. Now these 3 are the physical unwholesome deeds. And when you come to the verbal unwholesome deeds, telling lies, telling malicious speech, telling harsh words, and also telling useless words. Now those four kinds of deeds are the verbal misdeeds. So, dear devotees, why there is a chance of that particular person to tell lies? Why an ordinary person tends to kill the beings, or why they steal, why these ordinary people carry out this sexual misconduct? That is because of the craving and this wrong view in the sense avijja, and the craving, the greediness to have the pleasure for these five faculties, sense faculties. So, dear devotees, when a particular person's view is corrected, so when he has removed or abandoned his personality belief, sakkaya ditthi, then that whole potential to be born in the woeful realms, or the also called the hells, it is being uprooted. So now that's what we should do. Why we should strive? Why should we develop these four right strivings or the efforts in order to cut off this personality belief? Then only we can cultivate these wholesome states in our mind. So, Rerukane Thero has said, the person who has not eliminated personality belief, whatever the position he or she holds, there is no guarantee of not committing unwholesome deeds. So, the ordinary person, though a very serious yogi and a great virtuous one day, perhaps will be a person who is doing unwholesome deeds tomorrow. You know, dear devotees, unless we have attained the supramundane paths and fruitions, Sotapatti, Sakadagami, Anagami, and Arahat, Maggas, and the Palas, then there is a chance of being a very low person, or sometimes will be born as an animal. Even sometimes an ordained monk or a bhikkhu may disrobe due to not having these four right efforts or strivings. He may become a low person. So there was a story in ancient times in Sri Lanka. There was a novice monk who had psychic powers. His teacher was an arahant. Once he noticed the abilities and powers of his pupil, the great Thero, the arahant, contemplated upon the future of that novice monk and noticed and identified that this monk, unless protected his psychic powers, will be disrobed in one day and become a very low ordinary person. So by seeing that future, the great arahant, the teacher, told that novice monk, dear novice, now you have this miraculous power, but in the future you will lose it and will have to live only on gruel prepared by a blind woman. So this is the forecast or premonition given by the great arahant to his disciple or pupil. You know what happened? One day that novice monk was traveling through the air. He had the psychic powers. So while traveling, he heard a melodious voice of a girl. Now the temptation or the desire developed in him so that he lost all his psychic powers. Now, what happened later on, he having that desire to have that particular girl as his wife, that novice disrobed and he became a lay person. One day while he was working in his shop, the wife was very late. In fact, the wife brought his lunch or the meal quite very late. So then, one day his wife brought his meal being quite late. He got angry and blamed her. She then said, "How come in other houses there are enough provisions and persons to assist and bring whatever need? In our home there is not even a servant. You don't know what is available and unavailable. You don't know what is available and unavailable. You know only to blame me. Either you eat or not, I don't mind or care." This is the reply given by his wife. So he could not bear it. He lost his temper and he hit his wife from his shuttle, so that the point of the shuttle struck the wife's eye and she became blind. Then only it reminded to him the premonition given by the Arahant. Teacher already saw now the fate of this monk. Unless he developed the supramundane levels, he gonna be a lay person, an ordinary person. Now he will have to suffer a lot in this life and as well as the sansaric journey. But the novice monk, not smart enough to understood, he couldn't actually understood that particular advice. So ultimately he ended up in this terrible state. So dear devotees, now this is what happens if a particular person is not developing these supramundane levels, or if that particular person or a seeker, even though he has a higher or greater level of morality, the sila, or higher level of samadhi, even the psychic powers, still there is a chance of declining. Now they are to decline. There is no any stability of those psychic powers even, unless a particular person attains the supreme level or supramundane level, at least the stream entry level, termed as Sotapatti level. Dear devotees, the Rerukane Thero said, one should practice the establishment of mindfulness and strive to attain at least the state of stream enterer. That is the striving to make for the unarising of unarisen, unwholesome thoughts. This sansara has no discernible beginning. So Lord Buddha has told us, Anamataggoyam bhikkhave sansaro pubbha koti na panyayati. It has an indiscernible beginning. So we have done a lot of sins throughout this sansara, and also we have carried out very meritorious deeds as well. Dear devotees, of the mass of unwholesome deeds done in the past, only one part has come to the end and expired. There are a huge amount of unwholesome results which have not yet come to reap as retribution and still waiting for an opportunity in future. We have done a lot of unwholesome deeds and as well as wholesome deeds. Dear devotees, Lord Buddha has told us at the end of this eon that whole world will be destructed. So there are certain people, most of us will be born in Brahma realms by developing the jhanic powers. So dear devotees, You know, we have passed thousands and millions of eons during this journey of samsara. So, during those, previous lives, within those previous lives, we have to have developed some wholesome deeds. We have to have carried out some wholesome deed. So, still there are, remaining the results which have not come to the reap. And the same manner, we have done a lot of demerits, so-called the unwholesome deeds in the previous lives, and they are to be reaped one day. So, according to the classification of karma, still there are karmas, then they are waiting for a suitable opportunity, suitable environment to give the result. So, there are the consequences of these karmas. So, then if you are in a bad state, then they will give the bad consequences. So, dear devotees, now how to get rid from this bad karma or bad deeds, unwholesome deeds that we have already carried out within this present life and as well as in the previous lives of this harsh journey of samsara. The only way is to develop these factors of enlightenment. So, again, Thero emphasizes, in accordance with the total eradication of personality belief that hell-bound karma also comes to expire. So, personality belief, sakkaya ditthi, is the thing to be eradicated. Then, all those unripened karmas, the consequences, will be expelled out. So, that is the way. So, a sotapanna person, or what we call a person who has achieved the fruition of the stream entry, he will be born for next 7 lives in this karma world. So, there is no chance of being born as a hell being in those woeful realms. Now, dear devotees, first we have to strive for so-called under these 4 right strivings, under these 4 right efforts. First thing we have to do is Anuppannānaṁ pāpakānaṁ akusalānaṁ dhammānaṁ anuppādāya. We have to strive to stop the arising of unarisen, unwholesome states. So that is the first thing we have to do. And the other thing is we have to eradicate, we have to stop the development of arisen, unwholesome states. So, uppannānaṁ pāpakānaṁ akusalānaṁ dhammānaṁ pahanāya. We have to abandon the developed or the arisen, unwholesome deeds. So, for that, what we have to do, we have to do the wholesome part. What we have to do, we have to arise the unarisen, wholesome deeds, like refraining from killing living beings, refraining from stealing, refraining from sexual misconduct, and as well as we have to refrain from verbal unwholesome deeds like telling lies, also telling malicious speech. Likewise, now we have to stop doing those unwholesome deeds verbally. So, now what kind of effort we should have is, from this time until the attainment of Nibbana, I should not allow the unarisen, unwholesome to arise in my mind. Now, this is the way you should develop these 4 right strivings. So, dear devotees, what we call arisen unwholesome are the defilements that have arisen in the mind, either in the past in this life as outburst, or the unwholesome that had to be done like killing because of those defilements. Dear devotees, we have these dormant defilements. You know, at this moment, while you are listening to this Dhamma sermon, you are not possessing right now any kind of unwholesome deeds in your mind. But still, there are latent defilements, so-called anusaya level defilements. Now, they are very dormant. You see, whenever you are being as a calm and silent person, time to time it arises from this external environment, these unpleasant waves or unpleasant sounds, unpleasant smells. So whenever you experience those unpleasant objects or the persons, then sometimes the lustful, especially whenever you see that the unpleasant objects and persons, the hatred or hateful thoughts arise in your mind. Whenever you see that the pleasant objects and persons, the lust or the cravings arise in you. So this is the nature. Because of these dormant defilements, that there is a chance of arising of arisen unwholesome state. So we have to cut off those dormant defilements as well. In fact, those dormant defilements will be cut off at the Arahant level. Some of the dormant defilements. So, in this section, Rerukane Thero has given like this way: right striving, the classification of wholesomeness should be described as the 3 training of morality, concentration and wisdom, and the 7 purifications like the purification of morality. So, dear Dhamma friends, Rerukane Thero has written like this way: in this section of right striving, the classification of wholesomeness should be described as the 3 training of morality, concentration and wisdom, and the 7 purifications like the purification of morality. So, threefold trainings are termed as the Sila, Samadhi, Panya, and the 7 purifications in the sense the Sapta Visuddhi. So, Sila Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Kanka Vitarana Visuddhi. Likewise, now there are 7 different kinds of the purifications we have to attend. Finally, we can achieve the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So, now these are different kind of contexts. In a way, you can develop the threefold training, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, by the 7 purification. It is the same way you develop the Sila, Samadhi and Panya. So, when you come to the wholesome states, with regard to the Sila or the virtue or the morality, precepts that we observe, especially the lay devotees, normally they observe 5 precepts. On the poi days, now they follow the 8 precepts, and also some observe the 10 precepts. Especially these novice monks, they observe the 10 precepts, Samanera Dasasila or Pabbajja Dasasila, and the Upasampada Sila, or the monks who have got the higher ordination, they observe the Upasampada Sila, which is that the highest virtue that one can achieve in one's lifespan. So, all the precepts where there is in 5 precepts, 8 precepts, 10 precepts, all them are included in the precepts for higher ordination, Upasampada Sila. So, within this life, now you have to consider the wholesomeness like this way. If you are a lay devotee who have observed the 5 precepts but not have observed the 8 precepts, so in the context of morality or the virtue, arisen wholesome state is the 5 precepts. Unarisen wholesome state is the 8 precept. So, if one has practiced the 8 precepts, that means that is also come under the arisen wholesome state. So, the lay devotees, this higher ordination precepts or precepts of higher ordination, those are unarisen, and all the other 5 precepts and 8 precepts, they have arisen in them. So, the most important thing is you have to protect your precepts so that you may observe them thoroughly. You never give up your precept so that you will be a very virtuous person. So, in supramundane path, right speech, right action, right livelihood, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, and Samma Ajiva, they are called the supramundane morality. So, in supramundane level, Samma Vacha, Samma Kammanta, Samma Ajiva, those 3 levels or 3 counterparts you have to develop. So, there is no stability in mundane morality. Even a skillful person can maintain it only during one lifetime. It will not go to the next life. Supramundane morality leads all the way to Nibbana. One who has established on the supramundane morality, wherever he would be born in future, would never be immoral. So, dear devotees, now see, even though you have developed the mundane morality, that you will be protected by that particular mundane morality for only this life. So, when you are born again, maybe let's take as a person in next life, again you have to develop the morality. So, that is the mundane level. But when it comes to the supramundane level, if you can achieve the supramundane paths and fruitions, then there is no any declining of the morality after all. So, in the supramundane path, through right speech, both unwholesome verbal conduct and the defilements that cause unwholesome verbal conduct are completely destroyed. The same way, through the factor of right action, unwholesome bodily conduct and the defilements that cause unwholesome bodily conduct are completely destroyed. Through the factor of right livelihood, the defilements that cause wrong livelihood, as well as the bodily and verbal unwholesome deeds done for living are completely destroyed. So, dear devotees, now this is a state we must attain. So, this supramundane levels, stream entry level, is gonna be a very high goal that one particular being should achieve in his sansaric journey. So, in fact, now that is the culmination of his journey. So, why we are suffering throughout this harsh journey? Because we couldn't achieve that supramundane level. So, we are doing all the things to achieve that Nibbana. So, try hard. Put yourself together. Put everything on this. Then only you can obtain this supreme bliss of Nibbana. So, dear devotees, when you come to the concentration, the samadhi, again, that is also comes under twofold level, or the samadhi also in twofold. So, mundane and supramundane. What is mundane samadhi? Mundane concentration. Concentration of sense sphere, concentration of material sphere, and the concentration of immaterial sphere. So, Kama Loka, Rupa Loka, and the Arupa Loka, or we can say Kama Bhava, Rupa Bhava, Arupa Bhava, we can achieve different levels of samadhis. If your samadhi is strong enough to be born in Kama Bhava, so that means you are having a concentration of sense sphere. If your concentration or the samadhi is strong enough so that you can be born in material realms, then that is the concentration of material sphere. If your concentration or the samadhi is strong enough so that you can be born in immaterial sphere or arupa bhava, then your concentration is termed as the concentration of immaterial sphere. So, again, this samadhi can be classified in this manner: preparatory concentration, parikamma samadhi, access concentration, upachara samadhi, and full concentration, arpana samadhi. So, dear devotees, suppose, for instance, let's take breathing meditation or anapanasati meditation. Now, parikamma samadhi, what is parikamma samadhi? When you are getting the practice where you get the knowledge how to carry out this breathing meditation properly, then that is what we call the parikamma samadhi. So, concentration that one gains first is the preparatory concentration. And next, with the development, you can go to the upachara samadhi, the access concentration. That access concentration is very close to the jhanic level, but now that is not the jhana. Next step going to be the jhanic level. So, the deep concentration that is more and more closer to material sphere, immaterial sphere, and the supramundane concentration is the access concentration. Both preparatory concentration and access concentrations are sensual sphere concentration. When you are carrying out any kind of meditation, so this preparatory concentration and access concentration are coming are under the sensual sphere concentration. While the full concentration is material, full concentration means the arpana samadhi. It can be material, immaterial, or supramundane concentration. So, for the ordinary person, supramundane concentration is an unarisen concentration. And if you are a practitioner, if you have practiced different kinds of meditation, maybe tranquility meditation and insight meditation, you may have developed your samadhi or concentration into higher levels. So, this preparatory concentration and access concentration, those are the arisen concentrations in that particular person in that way. So, having said that, let's conclude today's Dhamma sermon. Dear devotees, now we are in the discussion of four right efforts. Now, Chattaro Sammappadana, when you develop this Chattaro Sammappadana, you develop the unarisen wholesome states. And arisen wholesome states you can establish further and further, and arisen defilements, akusala dhamma, you can abandon, and unarisen akusala dhamma, unarisen unwholesome states that you can stop. So now it is over to you. As I told you in the beginning, we have to stabilize our spiritual path. We have to stabilize our supramundane path. For that, you have to develop these factors of enlightenment. So we bless you all with the merits that we have collected today. May you all be fortunate enough to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana and end this harsh journey of samsara sooner than later. Dear devotees, let us transfer the merits that we have collected today to the contributors. Now, these heartfelt contributions have been made by Mr. Saman Kumara of Gampaha, his wife Mrs. Champika, their daughter Harshani, and all others involved. May Mrs. Champika, who is currently unwell, be blessed with a swift and complete recovery along with enduring good health. May every member of the family be free from illness and enjoy strength and vitality. We also extend our prayers for the full recovery and lasting health of Mother W.M. Somavati and Mother Jayavati, who are presently in ailing condition. May Mr. Dinesh Saparamadu and his entire family be blessed with robust health and ever-growing prosperity. Furthermore, may the Senate Group of Companies Colombo 7, Apigo Company and Aplova Company thrive and prosper endlessly. Moreover, may the abundant merits accumulated through this noble deed be dedicated to all the departed loved ones, including the late A.L. Somapala, A.L. Vasantakumara, K.D.G. Saparamadu, Mother Aryavati Saparamadu. May they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana and eternal peace. May peace, wellness, and happiness illuminate your lives always. May the boundless blessings of the sacred triple gem guide and protect you all. Akasatta ca Bummatta Deva Anaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Sasanam. Akasatta ca Bummatta Deva Anaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Desanam. Akasatta ca Bummatta Deva Anaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditva Chiran Rakhantu Mamparanti. Abhivadana Silissa Nichang Vadda Pachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vaddanti Ayuvanno Sukambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samijjatu.